That's okay. Take care. Bye. His chemo is incapacitated.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the ZBA for Fraser on October the 2nd. If you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I guess, could you do roll call, please?
Burley.
Present.
Chimenti is absent. Farina.
Here.
Green.
Present.
Menendez. Stashik is absent. Wall.
Present.
That is a quorum, Chair.
Okay. And would you note Chimenti as being excused for illness?
You make the motion to do that, we'll do that.
Doesn't need a motion, does it?
Whenever you excuse someone, it's usually a
Okay.
motion.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Joe Chimenti from the meeting because of illness.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, the agenda.
I'll make a
Somebody-
motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Who seconded it? Scott, that's all.
You did?
Approval of minutes for July 17th?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair? Emma's here, so do we go back to?
You just go forward. I just put that she entered the meeting at the.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody have changes for the minutes for July 17th? Anyone? Okay, I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wrong date on the screen, sorry.
Who was second?
What it was? You said-
That's July.
Okay. There is no audience tonight, so I will forego the formal statement. Old business, there is none. New business, there is none. And tonight, we're going to have a discussion of the news upcoming change to the zoning ordinance. If I can interject something here, I'd like us to look at it from the standpoint of, is it required? If it's required, how do we control it? How does the city inspect it? You know, so that we don't create a situation where we put zoning in that nobody can police or, check to see if it's in order. So if you just keep that in the back of your minds and you have those kind of questions, bring them out, because I don't know that we try to do that at the steering committee, but we do deal with this all the time, and I'd like to, get some other thoughts on it. Okay, Lauren, the meeting is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Farina. So I believe in June, we discussed the zoning ordinance and some of the larger changes, included the timeline again. January 2026 is kind of tentative, but I think we're kind of pushing a little bit. The first draft review is taking a little bit longer. Working through attorney comments is taking a little bit longer, and Planning Commission was canceled last night. So it'll probably be a couple months into the new year. The hard deadline for adoption is about mid-year because of how this is funded through the MISHDA grant. So that's the kind of, hopefully we don't get that far into it, and it's around a March adoption.
So are you saying the first draft then is more or less in January?
The first draft is complete. We're reviewing it and kind of taking feedback into forming a second draft.
Okay, and that's this document we have before us today?
It's a little bit of like a 1.5.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah.
So what you have in play now is not what's before us. That will, your copy plus whatever modifications from attorneys or whomever, engineering, that will be the second draft and one that we've not seen.
Yeah, and it will essentially, it'll be comments from, we've had some discussions with the zoning board. It'll be comments from planning commission. Ultimately, planning commission is the body that is responsible for recommending ordinance amendments, including the complete ordinance rewrite. So they will be the body that recommends it to city council for adoption. So that process, depending on the comfort level, planning commission's comfort level with the draft, might extend the timeline a little bit as well. But when we do have a fully formed, fleshed out, second draft with all comments, we can, of course, circulate it back to ZBA as well for any final things.
So this is still, so if somebody has a comment, they can email it to you and,
Yes, please do. And we'll go over next steps as well, because after that draft 2 is complete, then the steering committee will reconvene to review it.
on the second draft when it's complete.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep. So to refresh everyone, this is the draft zoning map. The OR, Office Research, the OS, Office Service, and the rec districts are gone, and there's a new district called Residential Transition that's supposed to serve as a sort of more of a buffer between residential and commercial type uses. We talked about this in Planning Commission a little bit. I wanted to touch base on it with the zoning board as well. So residential uses, you can see we've got accessory dwelling units. We'll talk a little bit more about those later on tonight because we're permitting them as accessory uses. So that means that they are only allowed as accessory to a permitted use, and the permitted use that they're accessory to must be a single detached dwelling unit, that single family home, essentially. In all 4 of the residential districts, you can see the single detached dwelling, those are the single family homes permitted by right in all 4. Single attached, those are townhome type dwellings permitted in RM, RT, and RH. Duplexes, currently we don't permit them by right anywhere. We're permitting them by right in the RM, RT, RH. Triplexes are also not spoken upon. These ones now we are explicitly allowing in RT and RH, and multi-permitted by right in the RH district. Upper level residential, a little aspirational, that's permitted in the central business district, so that's, I think, apartments above commercial. So it's permitted if someone would like to build it, maybe in the CVS. Now there's opportunity. And so I know that this gets a little bit vague. You can see it on a chart. What does this mean? So I did break it out a little bit further to help folks visualize, and it's also in the handout provided for you today. So this is accessory dwelling units where they're permitted by right. Again, there's quite a bit of conditions attached to them, and you can see that not every parcel is filled in for the RM and the RL and some of the RTs, and that's because there is a minimum lot size for detached and attached. So this is contemplating the 10,200 square foot lot minimum. So anything under that has been taken off of that map. So this is functionally every parcel that, based on lot size, could, but there might be other limiting factors on their site as well, just looking at lot. Single detached, this is by far the one that has the most kind of, most lots that you could build a home. Most of these do have homes on them already. single attached, so that's, again, those townhomes or duplexes. These are the districts where they're permitted by right. And then triplexes, you can see now it's just the RT and the RH. And then finally, multi-dwellings permitted by right. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about, the residential housing types or where they're permitted, anything like that? Okay, if someone does, have something they think of later on, feel free to reach out.
Other than what we've already sent you, correct? Or notified you of?
Yeah, is there something that you're thinking of right now? Okay,
Not at the moment, no.
just want to make sure I got everything. Okay. Okay, I think we can, if we want to talk about accessory dwelling units, I know that's probably the one that people are the most, what does this mean? I'm not so sure about this. So an accessory dwelling unit is going to be, a smaller residence that has its own entrance that's not attached to the home, so it's got its own lockable door. There are several standards that we are also requiring of accessory dwelling units. So I don't know, do folks have the zoning ordinance in front of them or printed out
Yes.
Yes.
or access to? Okay, I will flip,
Take us to the quick page.
yeah, I'll call it a page number then.
Thanks.
So page 57 will be accessory dwelling units. So some things to note is they're only permitted as accessory to single unit detached dwellings. So if you have a duplex, you're not permitted to have an accessory dwelling unit in addition to that. Mobile homes, recreational vehicles, travel trailers, those don't count as accessory dwelling units either. They can either be, integrated into, they can be attached to the dwelling as long as they, are a completely separate space, or they can also be separate, standalone. They also have to remain under singular ownership. They can't be subdivided and split in any way. If they are leasing, they have to be rental inspected like any other rental property in the city. They have to have their own utilities connected to an approved water and sewer system, comply with our sanitation ordinances. We also have, as I mentioned, lot minimums, minimum unit size, maximum unit size, and setback requirements as well as height. A lot of it just matches the principal structure, so it can't be anything more massive than the principal structure. It should be smaller and, again, accessory to the structure. There also is parking requirements, so there has to be one additional parking space. So if the lot cannot support that with the impervious surface maximums either, they would not be permitted to have an accessory dwelling unit on that lot. And they also have to, in conjunction, so I mentioned that, it has to be owned singularly. They have to submit that to Macomb County with a deed restriction so that those cannot be split in the future. They also have to, on the exterior, match the principal dwelling, so it shouldn't look out of place in the neighborhood. I believe that's the gist of the standards, but does anyone have any questions, concerns, strong feelings about how we are proposing to do accessory dwelling units?
Just a question. Go ahead.
Thank you. I thought we said that we would not have unattached accessory dwelling units, is what I remember from,
I believe that it was as long as the lot was big enough, they would be able to.
we had a big discussion about that.
I remember a big discussion, but I remember the outcome being that it was a lot minimum thing.
Go ahead.
Which was my question about the lot coverage. So let's say if in RM it's 20, you can't exceed 25% lot coverage. If they're already maxed out on their lot coverage, no ADU, period.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
They can't even go in for a variance then, can they?
You could go for a dimensional variance. I'm not sure what the hardship would be, but you could.
Okay.
So no one's like wary of accessory dwelling units. No one's.
Well, I mean, what is the reason for this?
What's the reason?
Yes, why are they allowing to have two residences on a lot?
Essentially, it's just another way to expand varying housing types, expand housing accessibility, attainability, housing options. So instead of only having single detached dwelling units available, there's now more options. Some people use them for, mother-in-law suites or mother-in-law granny flats. So they use them for, I want my mom to live close but not too close type thing as well. So there's a variety of reasons that someone might want to have an accessory dwelling unit, but just allows a little more flexibility in those housing.
Hobby shop?
No,
Probably not.
No, I mean, not commercial, but for your own.
yes.
Do we foresee any challenges as a result of allowing accessory dwelling units?
Challenges in what regard?
I don't know. No?
In terms of like water, sewer, no. In terms of neighbor complaints, I think there's always threats of neighbor complaints.
Airbnb-ing it or something.
I think there's concern about short-term rentals, I think, would be probably the biggest. I've seen it before. We can write in that they can't be, less than like a 30-day rental, if that's a concern.
I would think it would be.
I guess that's kind of my question is like, what are common concerns around allowing ADUs?
I think folks are sometimes concerned that their neighbor is going to put, an accessory dwelling unit right on their lot line, right next to them. I think people are concerned about it being a short-term rental or a rental property in general. I think there's concern sometimes that it won't match the aesthetics of the neighborhood or that they're not going to be done well.
Whether they'll be upkept or they'll be inspected. I still have a problem with two on a lot.
2 homes.
Yes, I do. And I'm looking for my original paperwork, and there's so much of it, I can't find it, but I know I brought that up before.
Although I will raise that it's essentially, it's like a duplex, except for, one of them is really small.
And the lot is not set up for it.
Well, we do require them to have a certain size lot to even have that, but.
All right, let's say in my area, everybody puts in an accessory building. Are the sewers capable of handling that?
Yes.
How do you know that?
So I did talk to Mike Vigneron about the sewer when we were talking about the impervious surface. He stated that the sewers are, I'm not entirely sure how engineering works entirely, but he does say that they are currently performing, even though they are over what they were intended to do back when they were originally installed. But he did not have any concerns with the impervious. I also genuinely don't think that, I don't think that, allowing this is going to make it so everyone has an accessory dwelling unit. They're still, at this point, a little cost prohibitive to install because you have to run those utilities, all the electric, the plumbing, and build the thing. I'm sure a few people will, take advantage of that, and, they do want accessory dwelling units. I don't think they're going to spring up everywhere.
If I read you correctly, you said that it's like to give affordable housing. Is that correct?
I mean, it's still cheaper than building a new home.
Okay, are we interested in turning our city into affordable housing?
Attainable, but I think there is value in having housing that, people, first-time home buyers, that younger families can afford, so that they can move into Fraser.
Okay.
When you were referring to the sewer, you mean the storm drains, right? Because having to do with the drainage, impervious would have to do with the water going into the storm drain, and then the sewer would be a separate issue.
Sure. I mean, I can follow up with Mike. He did provide comments. There wasn't anything too extensive. He did review the first draft of the ordinance, but I can follow up with him
Just
on
to
that
see which one it is,
specifically.
because I was under the impression that when there were old subdivisions that were connected, the storm was connected into the sewer, and they had to disconnect from it, and they're supposed to be separate, as I thought I understood it.
I can directly ask him about if
Thank you.
it can handle, but yeah. Any other thoughts?
Go ahead.
So in essence, if it's detached, it has to go through the same building process, permit, engineering, planning.
It would be the
Lot
same, it'd be the same
coverage.
process as, if you were building a single family.
Right, lot
It's its
coverage,
own unit, yeah.
parking, they just can't throw something up and say, hey, I'm
You would
gonna,
need, you would need a building permit, you would need that to go through the
okay.
entire permitting process.
And do they have to have separate entrances? If somebody wanted to enclose their, let's say patio, whatever, and call it, do they have to have a separate entrance?
It does have to have an entrance to the outside that's not, you can't go through someone's home to get to your accessory dwelling unit. It
Okay.
has to be
You
separate.
answered that question. Okay, great, thank you.
I have one other question. I'm reading this, and several years ago, the city was going through a problem where rentals, the people renting of the property were being required to pay the water bill, and they weren't paying the water bill. And as you know, they were leaving the rentals with $700, $800, $1,000 non-payment that the city was going to have to absorbing. How would that be handled here?
The city doesn't absorb that it gets rolled over onto their taxes for the property owner. The city doesn't absorb unpaid water
It's in
bills.
the agreement that the rental,
Doesn't matter. You can have, that's when he has to sue the renter. It has nothing to do with it doesn't get rolled over and the people don't pay that water bill. That gets rolled over onto the homeowner's
it
taxes.
went through legal, and they said it was a problem at that point in time.
Well, they have to sue that tenant then.
Well, yeah. Tenant's gone. Tenant didn't pay the bill. He ain't got the money.
It goes to the property taxes.
No,
The city does not absorb any water costs, sir.
well, I said in the, I believe you are in error. Okay? I'll go check with the lawyer.
Okay.
Do you want me to ask? We're meeting fairly regularly as we chip away at this ordinance, but I'm meeting with them in 2 weeks, so I can ask if you'd like.
Oh, I'll call.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Again, if you think of anything or something comes to mind later, feel free to reach out, let me know. Also wanted to discuss, I presented this before Planning Commission last month as well, but just some kind of highlights of the commercial use changes. Currently, tattoo shops are only allowed, I believe, by special land use in the IC. They're treated as kind of businesses that, people don't want, but I think that that was, 30 plus years ago. I think that industry's changed quite a bit, gotten more regulated, gotten a lot more normalized and a lot, I don't want to say cleaner, but a lot more regulated. So we are allowing tattoo shops now in the commercial neighborhood district, the central business district, the commercial general, and then still in the industrial districts. So if you don't recognize the industrial district names, I think maybe we talked about this last time. We changed the name from IR and IC to LIGI, so light industrial, general industrial. Hopefully it's a little easier to understand for folks instead of industrial controlled and industrial restricted.
Tattoo shops licensed?
By the state, yes.
Are they inspected?
By the state?
No, by us.
They'd be inspected for a certificate of occupancy. I don't believe we'd have, an annual inspection.
They fall under county health department. Health department inspects them.
Okay.
Another one is adult businesses, so those might be things like, like a lover's lane type thing. We're permitting them in the commercial general as a special land use, so planning commission would have to approve it. It's also subject to some additional standards, so the page 59 right next to it has those standards, so it can't be within 1,000 feet of any of the uses below, like schools, religious institutions, childcare centers. Can't operate a multi-tenant commercial building, so no, they can't be in a strip, and cannot be located on the same lot as another adult. Or residential uses cannot be located on the same lot as adult businesses. So that really only comes up when you've got more of a traditional sort of mixed-use area, and you might have, apartments above, a business. So again, just planning aspirationally for a more traditional downtown. But the reason that we are putting these in the CG rather than the industrial district, which is where they're currently allowed, is it's something called daylighting. So the idea is that instead of putting these uses hidden away in a corner so that no one can see them, no one knows what's happening, no one knows what goes on in that district, it's putting it, if they were to, if they were to open, it would be in plain sight. So hopefully it would limit anything that they shouldn't be doing because they are very visible locations. Again,
Excuse me.
Oh, she was still talking.
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Does that include, because I thought in the committee, the drive-through, more or less the drive-through peep show thing that was in the documents from the committee?
Sorry.
Well, the sexual adult drive-through, how it was.
I mean, that would be an adult business. I will say I haven't seen that business pop up in years, recent, but it would.
Technically, would it be allowed in the commercial general?
It'd be a special land use, and that you'd have.
And that can be denied.
It could be if it's not meeting, the special land use standards. So planning commission would have to approve it.
Okay, thank you.
Is anyone else like, no, not in the commercial district, keep it in industrial?
I preferred it in industrial. That's my opinion. Only because I know they said about bringing it where it's more visible, yet you have businesses, for example, the massage parlor right across from the police station that had stuff going on and got busted.
New one's going in, actually.
I'm
so.
sorry?
Said a new one's going in, if you were curious. So
I don't know. I thought I heard a rumor that it was twice, but I'm not quite sure. But if I'm not mistaken.
We also have a massage parlor ordinance, and that there hasn't been one issue here since 2016. They did not have a license from the city.
They did not have a
Did
license.
not.
But what they were running was not your, even without, it wasn't a standard massage without licensing.
Well, they had like state licenses. So as far as we knew, that's how they were on the radar. They have to have state licensing. So
Which kind of goes back to your point. We don't look at them. Is the state really looking at them?
And then some newer uses that we are identifying and then also, allowing for in various areas. Artisan/maker spaces, breweries, wineries, things like that. And then we call it mobile food vending, essentially. It's food trucks, largely.
Now, artisan, would that be like a barber shop in your garage?
No.
What would artisan be then?
Artisan, I can refer to the definitions, but let me refer to the definition.
I did want to fall asleep and go back there.
A work or studio space for artisans, craftsmen, or small-scale manufacturers to work in an individual or communal setting where activities produce little to no vibration, noise, fumes, or other nuisances in typical industrial or manufacturing uses. They may offer a retail component.
Doesn't the barber shop fit that?
I wouldn't say that they typically are in the, artisan craftsman, small-scale manufacturer realm. That's more, people maybe make furniture or pottery.
So do you want to put in there that they should produce a product? And not just offer a service? Or? Because if you offer like a software service, I don't see a problem there.
The use itself is like a studio, essentially, like a workshop.
I drove by one this evening. Cars were out in the street, you could barely get by. But they do it after hours when the, inspections aren't done and the police aren't looking for that kind of stuff.
So do you want me to add to there, essentially, a studio workspace for artisans, craftsmen, or small-scale manufacturers who produce a product to work in an individual?
Right.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, but what you just said, though, I mean, it really doesn't matter what you have there if there's no enforcement.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did they hire the other enforcement guy?
Yes, we have 2 code enforcement now.
We have 2 again.
Someone just has to turn them in. I mean, people are going to do that. They're going to set up shops in their garages all the time. If it's bothering people, they'll call.
Okay.
Okay. I also wanted to, the attorneys and I, when we were going through the ordinance, a lot of their focus is on a lot of the procedural elements, a lot of the administrative elements. So we were discussing use variances. So I think everyone's familiar, but in case not, a use variance, special permission granted by the zoning board that allows a property owner to use their land in a way that's not permitted in the zoning district. So we don't currently get an abundance of, use variance requests. In the past couple of years, we've had 2. So we've had duplexes in the RM district along Utica Road. That one was approved. That one was earlier this year, so it should be in recent memory. Also in recent memory, the powder coating business in the CBD district, which was denied. So now the question is essentially, and we were curious to get zoning board's take on it, since the zoning board is the authority for use variances. Should they exist? Should they be allowed in the zoning ordinance? So, overview of, the case for including them and against including them. the case for including them, they allow for flexibility in unique situations. So that duplex one, it made sense spatially. It was surrounded by other multifamily, but the lot was too skinny to really adhere to a traditional rezoning to RH. It would have been difficult for them to build anything, but it was still in accordance with the zoning ordinance, but it was still built to, fire and public safety code, or fire code and building code. They also offer, because of that, potentially increased economic viability of an area that may not be suited for other things. And they also can support adaptive reuse, so might allow the repurposing of an existing building, might be more viable, things like that. Communities around Fraser that do allow use variances include Warren, Sterling Heights, and St. Clair Shores. What was that?
All bigger, correct? Except St. Clair Shores closer to,
I'm not sure what their population is, to be honest.
They're like double Fraser.
St. Clair Shores. So we're the smallest.
Oh, yes.
Don't compare
Fraser's
to
pretty
Warren, and we
small.
don't
I mean,
compare, we don't compare to Warren, and we don't compare to
I don't know
Sterling.
if that's relevant, though. Really?
I think Fraser's probably one of the smaller communities.
It would be center line.
Center,
What if we're already 95% developed? So you're talking about in that 5% of land you can develop.
No, you could go in and change, come in and petition for a building that's there, being used one way to use it in a
Right.
different one. And that would be a use variance.
yeah. So real quick, some of the cons are, undermining the zoning plan, the future land use, essentially what the vision for the city's future zoning is. Spot zoning concerns, it's not necessarily a rezone, but it's functioning very similarly. And also undermining legislative intent. So what that means is, essentially, instead of going to get a rezoning, which the process is a planning commission meeting and then city council approval, it is an easier path for folks to just come and request a use variance because it's just one zoning board meeting. So in essence, it does procedurally incentivize people to go around what the traditional and intended path, which is a rezoning, if they want to do a different use, would be. So then it is, again, back to that undermining what the zoning plan, what the intent is. So that's the case against use variances. A lot of communities do offer them. A lot of communities don't offer them. Recently just learned, actually, that townships who don't mention them before 2006 aren't allowed to have them, period, for Michigan state law. So, but cities are, so. Anyone have any thoughts, preferences, strong or weak opinions?
Anybody, Scott? Got an opinion?
I would have a tendency to lean against use variances. Because if our overall intent, especially since we are redoing our zoning ordinance, we should, follow the path for a period of time, and, it's not quite forcing, but you want people to follow the proper procedure. Like what you stated, they have to go to planning commission. If they're going to get a rezoning, then they have to get the approval from the city council. And between those two parties, if they're okay with starting to see the divergence again of the various zones throughout Fraser, then so be it. But that's my take is I think we should lean more against having the use variance than leaving it in.
Okay. Ms. Stasek, how about you?
I feel opposite. If we are 95% developed, I think we need to have some leeway in order to be friendly to innovation and business and things like that. So from an economic viability perspective, I think that kind of gives us like a release valve to accomplish that.
Mr. Green?
I think we keep them. I don't, like Ms. Stasek said, we're 95% developed, and as the city continues to grow and people continue to move to the city, there's gonna need to be some leniences, and some things are gonna have to be changed.
What was that?
But they still have the opportunity to convince the planning, go through rezoning and convince the planning and the council, so it's not like they're completely
Denied.
precluded.
Right.
There's still that, correct?
Correct. And there's also no wrong opinion here. You know,
Right.
there's a case to be made for both.
Right.
I don't have a strong opinion either way because you're going to run into a situation where it's better one way or better the other way. Depends on the situation. So it's 6 of one or half dozen of the other. There's going to be advantages of both. So it depends on the actual situation of the property and the request.
So the duplex, example, their lot was too skinny to adhere to the RH. What they would have to do if there was no use variance is essentially they would have to, apply for that rezoning, then apply for the dimensional variances they would need. So, it'd be 3 meetings rather than the one he went to, the one in planning commission.
Right, and they would have to rezone that one plot too, right?
Correct.
More costly,
For,
the applicant?
yeah.
Personally, I don't see a problem with keeping use variances. I'm kind of with what Emmett said. There's going to be situations, and Mr. Green said, where you want to be more flexible. And it hasn't been a problem in the past. So, and they don't come up that often for it to be a problem. So I guess so we're kind of split on that. Mr. Burley, you're the deciding vote.
I don't have an opinion either way.
Okay. Is it?
I'm the deciding vote. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
No, you're
we'll,
not.
we'll take it back to the attorneys and discuss a little further, but I will tell them, what was discussed tonight and see if
Okay.
that changes are prevailing.
And this was the attorney's thought here?
For no?
No, I mean, for making the case against the use variances.
No, this is
Just in
planning practice, yeah.
Planning, okay.
But the attorneys were the ones who brought it up from their work in other communities of maybe we shouldn't offer use variances.
Okay.
But, it's a big thing to kind of go back on when you've been offering them for, decades.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything tonight that, I know this is not, of course, of a comprehensive, going through everything line by line. Again, I was making the joke to Mr. Wall earlier. It's great bedtime reading if you want to piece through it. Gets you ready for bed, ready to sleep. But if you have anything else as you kind of look through it, we'll be going over it with Planning Commission again in November. So, throughout October and even into November, if you have any comments, let me know. But if there's anything right now that anyone on the board wants to discuss with the board that I didn't bring up, opening the floor to that.
There was something brought up with planning that I think the board should know about. The steering committee, after a long discussion, decided not to allow chickens because we have a vermin problem in the city. And it was brought up that somebody on the planning commission wants to have chickens. So that was taken out of the draft that you have here. And I have the draft we had then, so it's not in this draft. But it would say essentially, you want to paraphrase it, or shall I paraphrase it?
I don't have it in front of me, but I can do my best. I think it was like 6 chickens, no roosters, certain lot size.
Cannot slaughter chickens.
Yep, no slaughtering.
Wall.
Yep, rat wall, building permit on the coop, had to have a coop.
Setback
No,
requirements?
there was no rat wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
I believe there was.
And when we were talking about it, the discussion was like, well, if there's a rat wall there, this is gonna be cost prohibitive for most people. Which was, yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking about what the guy in the planning commission brought up. Because he's saying you could move the chicken coop around your yard, so you didn't create a hot spot. If you did that, you would not have a rat wall.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I don't know, I asked Lauren how we should go forward with that, since the steering committee said no, and this guy wants to come before the planning commission. Excuse me, and he would really like chickens, and I think he'd do a great job with them. But we have to consider what everybody would do with them, and there are going to be some people who are not going to do a good job and going to create more of a vermin problem than we already have. So think about it. They're supposed to have to get a license, right?
They would, yep. They would,
But there is no inspection. Was there an inspection?
I think they would have to get I think like a building inspector or code enforcement officer
Yeah.
would go out, but
But is that annually or every 2 years, or just?
I think there was a time on it. I think it was, I don't know if it was 2 years or, I don't think it was 1 year. Sorry, I don't have that version in front of me, but
Me either.
there's a lot of,
many-
I'll start
too
writing,
many-
I need to start writing draft number, whatever it is on the cover.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll start doing that.
All right. That's the one thing that I had. There was something else, Roseanne, you wanted something about,
I already took care of
why
that
don't
with
you
Lauren.
tell the people?
Oh, with the fence setbacks, it was 3, and then in here it was 2, and 2 fences back to back, 2 feet just wouldn't be adequate.
Yep.
To be able to maintain and control noxious weeds, drainage, yada, yada.
If you have a 20-inch lawnmower trying to go into you don't have a train.
Or just to get it out of your side gate and try to turn with it. Which goes to the question of gates. If your fence is directly adjacent to the property line, either side yard or rear, that the gate should open inward. Because some side yard setbacks are still at 3 feet. So if they have a 4-foot side yard gate and they open it up, you're in your neighbor's yard. And that can create problems, especially if they want to run landscaping or vegetation around it, and they have their fence there and people are fighting.
We'll add that in.
Anything else? Anybody? Well, Lauren's very open with your thoughts, and call them into her. Yes.
I did, in the recreation area, where it does, specifically in that part, it doesn't speak to the base. So if you can't, have impervious surface more than this amount, you can't cover lot space more than this amount. If somebody comes in brand new into the city and they look at this, it doesn't tell them that that's a requirement, because you don't need a permit for a recreational vehicle. So then they buy a motor home, drop it on there, and find out that you have to have adequate subbase for it, and that now that subbase factors into your lot coverage.
Yes.
So that can end up creating a problem, and they've already purchased it. So to avoid
we
somebody
should-
getting stung,
What you're saying is we should have something in there that says impervious surface, must be on an impervious surface, and that is part of your lot coverage.
or however you word it, and it must not exceed your total required
Lot coverage.
lot coverage.
Okay.
That way, at least they know. I mean, we have it out there. If they fail to look into it, that's not on the city, That's just my personal opinion.
One other question about that recreational too. What happens if you have your house in back and your garage on front? Can you park it in front as long as it's behind your garage? Would that be considered a
Like
side?
Like
Well,
it's,
recreational, she's saying
yeah. Like it's your garage is just set more in front
in
of
front,
your house.
House is in back.
So as long as it's not exceeding like the front
Building.
line.
And there, it doesn't say that, it just says, you know, the side or back of your house.
Okay, I can add something in there to make that more clear.
Must be behind the front building line,
Yeah.
Something like that.
in the side yard line? Good point.
So I can put my boat there.
Now, I know you're working with the legal team on their input. Has the building department given you their input?
Building official has.
How about the building department?
The
Logan?
he is not.
Because I know I talked to him about it, and he said he was working his way through it.
Okay, I can ask him tomorrow.
Okay. All right, anything else, Lauren?
I didn't have any other discussion items planned. So the next steps, again, still working through that finalization with attorneys into draft 2. We'll review draft 2 with the steering committee. And then from the steering committee, we'll edit that 2 into a 3, share it back to the planning commission. And that version hopefully will be for their recommendation, you know, maybe with a few minor tweaks. There's an operative word, it was hopefully. And then on to council.
I'm glad you're a woman of faith.
I believe we can do it. I believe we can do it. But I believe that is all for tonight. Again, I've said it several times, but truly, I invite you to email me. I invited Planning Commission. No one's done it so far, so be more proactive than Planning Commission.
Okay,
Thank you.
anything else? We do not have a monthly report?
You do. You did get one, right? You guys didn't get one?
It's at the end of the email.
It's at the end of the.
It's at the end of the 200-page zoning ordinance. Correct.
Oh, okay, I never even looked. I-
Those who didn't read it.
Now we know who didn't get all the way through it.
Oh, I had my printed copy, I didn't go back.
Yeah, well, my guest speaker, the attorneys aren't here to talk on Hockeyland, but I can do it today. Well, actually, zoning board will be seeing Hockeyland back in November, so you will have a November meeting. They're coming back for a variance on their parking lot. Essentially, what happened is ZBA granted them a variance to park on not a paved surface, but then when looking at the parking lot standards, legal, engineering, building said, well, there's so many other things that it needs to be a parking lot that it's not going to make it feasible, such as lighting, curbing. It doesn't make sense to have that, so they're coming back for variances on those items. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, but they will be back again. So has everyone presided over Hockeyland, or do we have some Hockeyland? Oh, we've got some people who haven't. That's exciting. Welcome.
I actually also have a question about that, since I share a wall with them. Am I permitted to vote on any of the things, or do I have
Yep.
to like?
You are, yes.
Okay, yeah, got it. I didn't know if that would be
We're
a conflict.
we're working on the generator thing.
Okay.
That's it.
Sheets, we had a pre-construction meeting with all of the city, staff, so building, engineering, DPW. So they are doing their demolition now and then expected to start the building process. And then I believe they'll be done next spring, is their plan. Apparently the holdup on demolition was they ran into asbestos 3 times. That each one delayed it a little bit more. I believe that's Planning Commission approved in September the site plan for the special land use for the complete auto care on Kelly Road. I believe that's all that's happened since ZBA's convened last.
Any word on the car wash that's going in by Myers?
They are, I believe they were working through the lot split lot combo, and then they're going through engineering right now, so they're still in the process.
Okay.
Is there a time frame on, from when they have to start, from when we approve it?
Yes, it's a site plan is a year.
It's a year? Okay.
But that doesn't preclude them if the things are in process and they're waiting for things. That's no movement, correct? Like if you're waiting on engineering or you're waiting for the lot split.
So as long as they've applied for, if they've already applied for, the lot combination, that's movement on it, that would
Right.
be towards that. So they're not in.
It's just if it goes completely dead, like you have.
Mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the apartments, the duplexes might, I think that one might, if someone does, I think that property's for sale.
On Utica, I saw that. So that's
Kinda.
another example right there. That's been over a year, has it not?
Not yet, nope,
Not yet?
that was earlier this
When
year.
does that toll out?
That'll be probably next winter, next spring is when he got that approval, so.
Okay.
Well, we've got like 6 more months on that. Ish.
August. Just for you, information, the stamps up here, legal notified me that we do not need to use these anymore. These strictly start the clock on people being able to sue if they got, if they had this. And when the minutes of the meeting are approved, that's when the clock will start. And he's, you can do what you like. I just, anything else? Anybody else? You got anything? Nope. You in town now, out of town, finding criminals, or?
Nothing.
Your Highness.
I would like to wish Mr. Farina a happy birthday. His birthday was
Yesterday?
2 days ago? Or
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Time flies. So happy birthday, Mr.
Well, thank you
Farina. I
very
hope you
much.
had a fabulous day.
I did. Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. And
7:58.
by the way, I did not ask for the public to be heard because there is no public.
I'm not even,
Okay.
Lauren, thank you for everything that you do on
Please
this,
put
by
it
the
that
way.
there was no
Yes.
public.
Appreciate it. Because I know it's a lot of work. I can't imagine people coming at you with change after change after change and trying to keep it straight.